Good everyone! Welcome to DepEd TV. I am Wilson and you can call me Sir Will. Welcome back to our class in Oral Communication in Context. Are you excited to learn more? That's great! Today, we will talk about... I'm so sorry for those. How do you think those noises affect our communication? Alright, so today, we will talk about those noises that break down our communication. Let us learn how to avoid them. At the end of this video lesson, I'm pretty sure you will be able to identify and be familiarized with what is communication breakdown, and use various communication strategies to avoid communication breakdown. Do you have your notebook and pen with you already? You may write important terms and information. From our lesson last time, you were able to realize how different elements of communication work together to achieve a successful communication transaction. Can you still recall what is communication? That is right. Communication is a process of exchanging thoughts, ideas, and opinions to connect with other people. Its goal is to achieve a clear and effective understanding, resulting in good relationships in the community. However, there are times when this goal is not reached due to certain factors. When this happens, there is a communication breakdown. Just like what happened to us earlier, right? The elements involved in communication are important in the success or failure of this process. These very same elements, such as sender, message, receiver, feedback, etc., can pose a threat to the efficiency or effectiveness of the process. Communication breakdown may occur when problems in any of the elements involved arise. They become communication barriers. Simply put, communication breakdown results when the intended message of the sender is not understood exactly by the receiver. Communication barriers are present. Recognizing the barriers or obstacles to effective communication is important to avoid communication breakdown. Here are some of the barriers that may cause a communication failure. Barriers of communications. Physical barriers. Psychological barriers. Cultural barriers. Linguistic barriers. And noise. Verderberg gives a similar idea when he clarifies noise into three kinds: external noises, internal noises, and semantic noises. Among those, let us first talk about physical barriers. Physical barriers are the natural or environmental conditions that act as a barrier in communication in sending the message from the sender to the receiver. Examples are people talking too loud, noise from a construction site, loud sound of a karaoke, blaring of jeepney horns. And now, let us talk about psychological barriers. Psychological barriers are called mental barriers. These refer to the social and personal issues of a speaker towards communicating with others. Examples are trauma, shyness or lack of confidence, depression, fear or stage fright. Let us learn more as we explore the next barrier in communication, the cultural barriers. Cultural barriers pertain to communication problems encountered by people regarding their intrinsic values, beliefs, and tradition in conflict with others. People's cultures affect the way they communicate and relate to others. Examples are different beliefs, traditions and customs, manners of dressing and speaking. The fourth barrier is linguistic barrier. Linguistic barriers pertain to conflicts about language and word meanings. Because words carry denotative and connotative meanings, they can sometimes cause confusion and misunderstanding. The meaning of words and symbols also varies depending on the culture. Examples are difference in language, accent and dialect, use of jargons, and speech defect. Another barrier to communication is noise. According to Verderber, noise can be classified into three kinds. These are external noise, internal noise, and semantic noises. External noises are the sight, sound, and other stimuli that draw people's attention away from the intended meaning. Examples are noise from vehicles, singing at the neighborhood, the dog barking, and the sound of an airplane. Moreover, another kind of noise is internal noises. Internal noises are the thoughts and feelings that interfere with meaning. Examples of these are confrontation with a friend, fear of speaking in front of the class, and racial prejudice. The third kind of noise is semantic. Semantic noises are the alternate meanings aroused by a speaker's symbols. This idea means that a word may have another meaning in the minds of the students. This is affected by the language in which they grew and the culture in which they are exposed to. Examples are incorrect grammar, using excessive technical jargon, and using idiomatic expression. Those are the barriers to communication. Were you able to note down important information from our lesson? Well, that's great! Once again, let us look at our graphic organizer for the lesson before we move on to our activity. You may take a moment to recall the information from today's discussion. Also, you may copy the graphic organizer on your notebook. Hooray! Now, you are ready for our activity. Let's get started! Identify the kind of communication barrier exemplified by each description. Tell whether it is physical, psychological, cultural, or linguistic. Write your answer in your notebook. Let us begin. Number 1. Lack of confidence. That is right. Lack of confidence is an example of a psychological barrier. Next, connotative and denotative meaning. Nice try! Connotative and denotative meaning is a form of linguistic barrier. Let us have another example. How about a loud party? You're doing great! A loud party is a physical barrier. The next example is different races. That is correct. The different race is a cultural barrier. Now, how about this one? Poor lighting. Exactly! Poor lighting is an example of a physical barrier in communication. You did great! You were able to identify the different kinds of communication barriers based on the given examples. Now, you are prepared with the skill to move forward for the evaluation of your learning from our lesson. Explain why there is a communication breakdown in the given situations. Again, write your answers in your notebook. You see, answers may vary on these questions. Make sure that your answer is relevant to every situation. Number 1. Jay and Michelle started talking about their plans for Christmas vacation when their classmate Moy interrupted them. Let us check your answers for this situation. Jay and Michelle had a communication breakdown because Moy interrupted their conversation. Moy acted as a physical barrier. Moy speaking while Jay and Michelle are talking can also be considered as an external noise that added to the communication breakdown. Let us try this situation. In some Asian countries, direct eye contact is considered disrespectful and rude. In others, it is a must. Alright, let us answer the second situation. There is a communication breakdown in the situation because there is a cultural barrier in doing eye contacts. Now, let's see what's the third situation. You spent the night thinking and analyzing why a student from another class talked to you on your way home. Finished? That's great! In the third situation, there's also a communication breakdown because of social and personal issues. It can be called psychological barrier. Your thoughts and feelings interfering with the meaning of the context can also be considered as an internal noise. That was a job well done. You were able to recognize and examine different communication barriers. You are a great learner. It is a good thing that the communication barriers earlier did not stop you from learning. Congratulations! For your assignment, answer the following questions in your notebook. First, what is communication breakdown? Second, what are the barriers to communication? Third, why does the breakdown of communication occur? It was indeed another fruitful day with you. We learned a lot about the kinds of communication barriers and they use this to prevent communication breakdowns. Keep in mind that we are stronger when we listen and we're smarter when we share. Once again, this is Sir Will, wishing you a nice day ahead. Happy learning! See you again next week!